Hey riders, welcome back. Straight into the action here. I was digging around in the new routes today in Rouvy, in the new routes section, and I found another cool ride by Roberto Rini. He's pretty well known for making some incredible routes here on Rouvy. Uh, First thing I should say, as usual, if you're new here, not the usual what you expect to hear, I'm playing back all my videos at 2 times just to keep them, down to a certain amount of time. So hopefully it's not running too fast, but this video was filmed at an excellent speed. I mean, maybe right there on screen, it looked like it was sped up a little bit. But so first thing I'll point out is what I did with this ride. Uh, I picked out 6 random riders. This is a very new route, and I think there was only 10, 11, maybe 12 completed passes of the ride where you can look under last passes under the road information. So I picked out 6 just at random. The key thing here is I did pick this one character named Ragazzo, uh, who wrote it at 3.167 watts per kilo, who I knew that was going to be a tough workout for me right there. I don't think I'm there yet. I've done that before, but I don't really feel I've got that in me right now. But let's see what happens. So, anyways, just a little background here. Roberto makes excellent videos. Filmed at very good speeds. Again, everything's sped up here because I've sped the video up. But Roberto is actually riding this on a road bike. You'll see his shadows at times with his camera mounted on his handlebars, I believe. Uh, Stabilization is incredible on this video. It's not swaying around when he pedals. It's just so well done. He's got it figured out. He knows what he's doing. I just saw him post today on Rouvy Athletes on Facebook that he's filmed a ton of new rides. I think it's all around the lake. So I'm not, really good. Here we go. You can see him here riding right now. So you can see the legs are sped up a little bit, but that's just so we can get through this video. It's called lazy man editing is what I do. So I just speed it up a bit, less chopping for me, less chances of me losing stuff, right? So this ride is northwest of Milan. Here, let's look at a little map view here. I was jumping in out of map view to show you where people were behind me on the route. So I picked these 6 riders, one that I know has a very good chance of beating me, and I should be able to stay ahead of the other ones. My cycling's been hit and miss lately. I'm a true believer of riding every day. I just took 3 days off, rode yesterday, so I'm just kind of getting back into it. Very interesting climb here. What I like about Roberto's rides too is these are the ones you're never going to see. I mean, it's not like there's only 15 different hills you can climb in Italy. There's just like thousands of them. And you can see the topography in the background. There's hills everywhere. And the beauty of Italy and most of Europe, there's roads everywhere there. So there's kind of like unlimited climbing to do. But, a lot of the big providers, I guess, if you want to call them that, they're only going to give you so much. What this one shows you too is that this ride is not an AR ride. And to be honest, I love AR rides. It's the first thing I want to ride every time. I like seeing the other cyclists on screen with me. That's just my preference. But Roberto's rides are so well done, I don't think it really matters. I'd love to see these videos all AR'd. Not sure when he filmed this. Obviously, it's got to be late spring. There's still snow on the ground. I'd hate to think they got snow right now. Although here in Canada, we had a frost advisory last night, but not snow like what I'm seeing here. So this must have been filmed late in the spring, high altitude, I imagine. I'm not really sure what mountains these are. They're more like what I would call foothills, things that you can walk up pretty easy. That's what we call them here, the foothills in Alberta. So what this shows you here is a non-AR ride filmed at the highest level possible for me. And I'm also using 6 virtual training partners out of the whatever it was, like I said earlier, 10 to 12 riders that had done this route. I picked 6 randomly with one that was going to be my main competitor. So it's kind of like a fake race. It's really good training. Uh, I was going to use Ragazzo, riding almost 3.2 watts per kilo as the person I'm really trying to beat. So what's good about this climb is that I'm not one that really warms up before my rides. I just kind of like put my music on, click in, and I start pedaling. All I've really got is maybe 5 or 6 seconds of warm up as the countdown starts at the beginning of the ride. So I like these rides. These kind of climbs, they're not overly long. This is, I believe this is 16 kilometers in total. Yeah, 16.7 or something. And there is, what is it, 460 meters of climbing, something like that. So nothing killer. I like these because these are the rides you can do before you go to work, maybe at lunchtime, or after work at night. And you can still function as a human afterwards. This isn't like climbing for 2.5 hours straight, right? This isn't an all-out sprint over 40 or 50 kilometers where you're dropping massive watt bombs and your heart rate's jacked so high. These are just like nice short rides. I like to look at these. These are sub 45-minute rides for me. And the way Roberto's got it set up here, we're riding in the valley, like you always see at the races, like at the Giro or the Tour, uh, probably the Vuelta too. You ride a lot in the valleys and then you tackle the climbs. And that's exactly how this ride is laid out. We've got a nice half the ride, actually right to the split point. Um, that's half the ride right there. It's generally flat. There's just a couple little kickers. There was a tiny little kick at the beginning with some steeper stuff, I think 12, 13%, but it was like, 100 meters long. Who cares? Very flat here, false flat. Look, I'm riding like a 1% gradient, pushing the power pretty good against the gradient here. Looking back at the people behind me, there's Ragazzo just kind of lurking in the background, 600 meters back. I think around this point, maybe he was at 600 back earlier. This is as far as I ever got away from Ragazzo. I felt pretty good at this point, and I think I actually pull out a little bit more of a lead here going down. I think there's a little bit of a downhill here before you start the climb. And then we got second stringer, Phil Kim. I think there's a Federico in here. So I appreciate all these riders. Um, I pulled their avatars off of the virtual partners training page, clicked them. There was more. I just wanted to have 6 on here for right now. So, jumping to map view. So here we're looking back. I can't see anyone. I'm feeling good about this. I've got that buffer. I'm hoping I can just use this lead and hang on over the climb. Now, the climb's not killer, but it's not a pushover easy either. Um, you're going to be climbing for looks like about 8 kilometers. There's a bit of flat at the top, and you're probably going to climb. I don't know. I can't really see right now until we hit the split. So obviously, since I'm leading, I've got the first split time here. And you can see Ragazzo at this point hit that split. I think it's like 17 seconds behind me. So really not that far at all. Maybe it was a bit more. Hard to tell from that. So yeah, we've still got 347 meters of climbing to go in 8 kilometers. So it's a kind of a climb. It'll keep you honest. It's not crazy. I think the first little part here is probably the toughest, gradient wise. Then it settles down after that with like little soft, light steps. They're not flat, but they're not hard either. So there's just a series of them, hard, easy, hard, easy, hard, easy. And when I say hard, I mean like 7, 8%. Easy, I mean 3 to 4%, but nothing crazy. So watching here, I'm looking at Ragazzo right now going, he's only 250 meters behind me right now. And it looks like Ragazzo is a better climber than they were on the flats. I think Ragazzo, and when I say that, I don't mean that's their actual riding style. That could mean Ragazzo just took it easier on the flat section and said, I'm going to hammer on the end. Uh, I was probably riding harder on the flats. That's why I had the lead, right? So here at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, I'd be pretty comfortable riding this right at 3 watts per kilo, and I'm seeing Ragazzo riding it at 3.2, 3.3. This is where I kind of know, I'm in for a battle now. See how I pulled away there? I pushed it out to 400 meters because I had one of the little soft steps to ride up where it was right in the 4% range. So what I'm doing at this point, I'm doing everything I can to use those flats to my advantage. Even though, the heart rate's elevated, it's at 178 right now. spinning like at around 70 RPMs, dipping into the 60s at times. I'm going to try to push hard. So here's like a harder part. We're at 7%. We're coming out of it right away, and we're going to dip to some easier stuff next. Look here. We're already like, we're less than 4% here. This is where you're tired, but you know you got to push. You got to push, push, push if you want to stay away from that person that's lurking behind you. So you can see here, I'm pushing the same, but probably less power than Ragazzo. So things are kind of going sideways here for me. But let's just keep going on because I don't really know how Ragazzo did this ride. All I know is Ragazzo's average watts per kilo. And I know I can ride roughly that, not all the time. So I call this a staged race, call this a training ride, a training race, what do you want to call it with these virtual partners? In all reality, if Ragazzo was here in real life riding behind me and they saw me doing this, they might put in a huge attack on me and drop me at 4 watts per kilo. I mean, I'm looking at this thinking that's probably this type of person. Looks like they can climb really well. Uh, at this point, they're out climbing me. So I went to a map view here. You can see that Ragazzo is just like, they're on pretty much the same switchback as me. Everyone else is kind of tailing off behind on the switchbacks behind us on the map view there. Hopefully you caught that. So moving on, we are now only 6 kilometers from the finish with 253 meters to go. So it's not crazy climbing, but that's going to still be an average 4% gradient the entire way. I've already put out some big watts at the beginning. I'm probably getting a little bit tired right now. My heart's probably more elevated. Look, I'm at 179. Trying to keep my power around 300 watts. But Ragazzo's still hanging, 218 meters behind me. Now I'm going to look at the profile again. So I will point out too, I prefer augmented reality only because I can see the cyclists on the road. I'm not saying I can see them behind me because I can't actually look back. You could in Omni mode and see them, which is another cool feature. But even in this mode, I can see their locations on the map on the bottom, on the ride profile. So you can see them there. And like I just said, I accidentally said that I can see them on the map. You could go to map view like I've done a few times and see where they are behind you as well. Just to say, hey, they're 3 turns back from me. But at least I know where they are on the map here. So I can kind of pace myself. It's kind of hard sometimes in non-AR when they pass you, you don't see them. So I find it very easy for them to slip away from you because you're trying to watch their numbers, you're trying to watch your numbers, but you don't see them, so they can vanish pretty easily. They're invisible at that point. It's not the same as AR mode where you see a cyclist, an avatar, cycle off into the distance. So coming out of it a little bit more of a harder part, looks like 6-7%. Going into an easy section, how am I doing now? Uh-oh. We got Ragazzo at 185 meters back behind me, pushing more power than me. And let's point that out. They're probably pushing a little bit more power at this point because they're about 150 meters, 200 meters behind me, and they're actually on the tougher part of the gradient, and I'm on the flat. So my power is going to drop on the flat. Their power is going to still be high. So like here, I'm just cruising along just over 2 watts per kilo on the flat. It's going to be harder for me to hold power on the flats. Soon as I hit the climb, like I'm going to start doing here, my power will jump back up to 3 watts per kilo. So, okay, so map view again. I don't have much of a lead. I'm 1 turn ahead of Ragazzo. Everyone else is further back, but they're doing their own ride. They're doing their own thing. How about our boys? Let's do this. So Ragazzo's coming hard. I'm trying to hold 3 watts per kilo. I'm doing it right now, but Ragazzo's just clawing me in. I'm struggling to keep over 3 watts per kilo. On my best day, I think I could. But I think Ragazzo would probably, if we were riding side by side, riding at 3.1, I think they have the ability probably just to drop me. So it just is what it is. Looks like we're coming into another easier stretch again. So gradient's going to drop again here. So we're at 5%. We're going to go into negative gradients here. So let's watch the power now. So I'm just barely doing over 2 and Ragazzo's still doing 3 because they're still on the harder part of the climb. Their power should drop off right away too, unless they're just a beast and they're holding it. Second stringer's back at 1.3 kilometers. I think it's Phil Kelms at 1.48. We got Tex at 1.55. I put these riders in just to show the spread of the field. Uh, so you could see that you'd have more riders on board with you. You could have actually selected a bunch of riders riding at 3 watts per kilo. And I did that specifically today because I've said that in the past. Some of the rides I've set up to show some of the features, I picked riders that are riding just a slight bit less than me. And if I ride to my ability, I should be able to be ahead of them. And I said, I need to start riding with better riders. That's why I picked this character, Ragazzo. And Ragazzo's doing a great job of reeling me back in. Look, we're down to 100 meters. I think it's like Ragazzo's riding maybe 10% harder than me, like maybe like 0.2, 0.3 watts per kilo harder than me on average. Sometimes it's only 0.1 of a watt per kilo, but on a hill climb, they're going to reel me in. So here we are, we're at 80 meters. And at this point, I'm thinking, I know in my head right now, I'm thinking, yep, I haven't sprinted in a long time. This might come down to a sprint because you can see at the top there, it's flat. We finished the climb, and then I didn't know at this point how long it would be, like maybe 600-700 meters to the finish in the flat zone. I thought, okay, I'm going to rely on maybe having a bit more power, and maybe I could start using my sprint again on Rouvy, which I haven't in a very long time. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, I now have 3.25 kilometers to go. Still 110 meters of climbing. So it's not a killer climb, but it's enough to keep you honest. And remember, I'm going to say a third of that's pretty much flat. So maybe I'd say maybe under a kilometer, it's pretty flat. So that's where I was hoping. I was already telling my brain, okay, you're going to get past, but you're going to come back on the flat. And then here I'm kind of holding Ragazzo. I'm like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm holding him at 80 meters, holding Ragazzo at 80 meters. But somehow they just keep clawing their way back. I think they were more consistent with their power. Mine probably fluctuates more in like, I'll ride 3.2, 3.3, and then I'll ride 2.7, and then I'll ride 2.9. Ragazzo looks really strong, just like rock solid 3.1 to 3.3 right in there. And so you could see the distance just coming down now. I had little glimmers of hope and thinking, can I hold them? If my goal was to get over the top ahead of Ragazzo. That was my goal. I thought, if I can get over the top, they're not coming past me. They are not going to come around me. I really wanted to hold big power here today. But you can see there, I was just under, I keep dipping 2.7, 2.8, and Ragazzo still staying strong, 3.1. That's the difference here. It's like 10% difference of Ragazzo at the end. Ragazzo either paced themselves better, is a better rider than me. Back to the map view, you can see, look at Ragazzo closing in on me, the orange dot chasing me. So now on the map, you can't even see Ragazzo anymore. They're underneath my blue bubble. They're that close now. So here we go, 25 meters. I know the catch is imminent now because I'm struggling to keep 3, and Ragazzo is always above 3. And we still have 2.2 kilometers to go. So I'm probably getting past too close to the end. I wish this would have happened like right at the top, but I was just fading at this point. We still got 45 meters to go of climbing, 2 kilometers to go, and that 45 meters is going to pass us by pretty quick. And Ragazzo's ahead of me. So see here now, Ragazzo's 3-4 meters ahead of me. I can't see them because it's a non-AR route. I would love to see this in AR. So in AR, I would see them slowly creeping away from me, like, oh, now they're at 6 meters ahead of me. 7, 8 meters ahead of me. And I'm doing my best to ride like right around 3, but Ragazzo's still riding 3.3, 3.4. They're pulling me, and I just kind of, I guess, I'm not gassed here, but I don't really have anything left here to go any more than this. Ragazzo's pushing hard. It looks like Ragazzo's already on the flat part now because I could see them doing a gear change there. I saw their power fluctuate quite a bit. And I'm still trying to get onto the flat. I'm not that far behind. Like at this point here, I thought, still got a chance. But Ragazzo rode this one and just hammered here. Ragazzo, you can see the lead just going away from me now. I'm probably trying to get my gearing back. I'm probably trying to get into the big ring to chase. And Ragazzo was pushing 3.7 for a while there. You can see the difference in power. I'm going to struggle here, right? I'm doing more of 2.8s than Ragazzo's doing. I'm seeing a lot of, it depends, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6 there for a second. They're just pulling away, doing the right thing. I'm not sure how this was written. I love how Roberto has all these little notes on here and like landmark locations on his rides. They're fantastic. So this ride was called, I'm going to say Berbenno. Maybe it's Berbenno, probably Berbenno, I guess. Roberto also labels all his rides RV and then with a number, so you can search for all those on Rouvy in the search feature. So you can see here, Ragazzo's got me hands down. Ragazzo is gone, still pushing huge power. I've let off here now, thinking I can't catch them now. I'm done. I didn't have a sprint left of me now. Ragazzo's finished. Excellent work, Ragazzo. Thank you for the excellent training session. I needed it. Props, very strong ride. Appreciate that. And so there we go, folks. That was another fun ride. I averaged 265 watts. Normalized power was at 269. Hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe if you possibly can. I've had a lot of people joining up lately, so I really appreciate it. See you very soon.